When I was first told that fertility problems might come along as a result of my treatment, it was a really hard thing to process because actually, for someone my age who didn't have children, being told, oh, you may have fertility problems would be probably one of the biggest things that had happened to them kind of in their lives to date, in terms of their plans. But weirdly, because obviously I was going through this cancer and I was thinking about my own mortality, almost fertility was like, okay, right, we just need to just deal with this as much as we could. So it was kind of, I'd say, maybe a misjudged sort of reaction because you're just so overwhelmed with everything that's going on. But it's only really been when you have time to kind of step back and think about the consequences that it is something that is really, really significant.
One in 6 of women with cancer experience fertility problems, an often overlooked subject that can be incredibly personal. If you've clicked on this video, you might be going through it yourself, or know someone who is. I'm Charlotte Gentry, founder of the IVFN, which is a platform that supports people who are undergoing fertility challenges, which can come in any form. And in this video, we're going to go through the potential impact early menopause due to cancer treatment can have on fertility, what options you or your loved one may have if you're going through this, and hear from other women who've experienced difficulties with fertility and the actions they've taken in their journey. When you're diagnosed with cancer, suddenly you may find yourself having to have hard conversations with your loved ones and with yourself. When it comes to the topic of fertility issues, especially in younger women, it can be really tough sometimes. The immediate reaction for a lot of people to take is wanting to freeze their eggs as an insurance policy should they wish to have children after treatment. However, there are important things to consider first, and your doctor and healthcare team can discuss these with you in detail, as well as the options that are most suitable for you. It's also important to mention that fertility issues due to cancer treatment can affect men as well as women, so many men may want to freeze their sperm in this situation if that is a recommended option for them. Let's go through why we need to be having these conversations and how cancer treatments that can lead to early menopause can affect your fertility.
So I went into early menopause when I was 23 years old, and my biggest fear at first was not being able to have another baby. It's sort of finding that balance of mentally dealing with the fact that you could potentially be infertile and your periods won't return, and also then trying to pick yourself up and find the best way to live every single day being in the menopause so that you're comfortable.
Cancer treatments in early menopause can affect fertility in different ways. Treatments like chemotherapy, radiotherapy or surgery, and the changes from early menopause that can sometimes happen as a result of these treatments can affect the ability of your ovaries to release eggs or produce the hormones needed for pregnancy. It's worth remembering that everyone's menopause journey is different. If you are worried about potential issues with your fertility due to cancer treatment, it is worth speaking to a specialist about these challenges to get advice and support about how you may be able to protect your fertility in this situation.
I've recently just had my first baby. She's almost 2. So you would never imagine being under 25 years old and having to think, is this actually my last baby? Are my periods ever going to come back?
Infertility can be temporary or permanent, depending on factors such as the type of treatment you receive. You can ask your doctors if the treatment you're having might cause infertility, but sometimes they may not know for sure, which can be hard to deal with. For example, radiotherapy is a treatment that uses powerful rays to help destroy cancer cells. Doctors aim the treatment very carefully to target the cancer as precisely as possible. This means that radiotherapy usually only affects fertility if the treatment area includes parts of the reproductive system or the pituitary gland, which helps control certain hormones that play an important role in fertility. Some chemotherapy drugs can make it harder for you to get pregnant, but not all of them do. Sometimes chemotherapy can make your period stop, but you could still be producing eggs, which means you might still get pregnant. But because chemotherapy drugs can harm a baby, it's important to use contraception during your treatment. With temporary infertility, your periods might become irregular or stop during treatment, but they should return to normal once treatment is over. It might take a few years for your periods to get back to normal, but you could still get pregnant. Make sure to speak to your healthcare team about contraception and how long you should use it. Permanent infertility is more likely with certain types of doses of chemotherapy, radiotherapy, or certain surgeries, or if you're nearing the age of when menopause would naturally happen.
My husband and I were really lucky to be able to get some eggs and create some embryos before I started treatment. But it was something that was really stressful. It was done very quickly and we didn't really have a lot of time to process it. And a lot of that thinking about it and processing has actually been done since. So coming out of the medically induced menopause, it's been quite a stressful situation where you're wondering if you're actually going to start your cycles again, whether your fertility will return. At the moment, I do have periods, but my egg reserves are significantly depleted. So it's not that having children naturally is off the agenda, but it's definitely something that it's not going to be as easy as it would have been had I not had to go through the menopause and go through treatment. So it's something that I think really sits in the forefront of your mind as you go through the treatment, and your mind moves less from the cancer, moves away from the cancer, and moves more towards your next steps and what the life after cancer looks like.
If having children is something you're thinking about, even if it's in the near or far future, it's important to talk to your specialist and healthcare team about the options available to you. It's important to make sure you have emotional support whilst making these decisions. A Boots Macmillan information pharmacist can provide free guidance for you and your friends and family, helping you to give them the information they need to support you through this journey. Visit the IVF Network at theivfnetwork.com for more information on how they can also support you.
You obviously don't expect that kind of issue in your 20s anyway, and it's another thing to add on to having cancer, another sort of side effect. You may need another type of medication to get you through those kind of side effects. I was also worried about being infertile. I just had a baby, she's almost 2. I would have quite liked another one. So then you sort of have the mental side of things where you're like, is this my last baby? You start getting yourself worked up and upset. And you just don't want to be dealing with the daily side effects that the menopause brings, because it does really interfere with everyday life.
Finding out that cancer or early menopause due to cancer treatment could affect your fertility can be difficult. It's normal to feel sad, angry, or confused. Talking to a counsellor, joining a support group, or discussing your feelings with someone you can trust can help you process these emotions. The most important thing is knowing you aren't alone and having a community forum who can make you feel held and supported during this potentially difficult time. At the IVFN, we have thousands of members who are all helping each other and enabling that support process. Remember, there are many different paths to building a family, including adoption or fostering, if that's something you want to explore in the future. Using donor eggs, using an egg or eggs donated by another person to carry out pregnancy can also be an option for some people. Many families are created through surrogacy as well, which is another pathway to parenthood, and whilst a little more complex, it provides many people with the families they so desire. The IVFN has a thriving community of people going through varied challenges, from miscarriage, polycystic ovarian syndrome, endometriosis, male infertility issues, and LGBTQ pathways to parenthood, to name a few. If you or a loved one has cancer and are going through the early menopause due to cancer treatment, having someone to turn to when you need help can make a real difference. That's why Boots have trained over 2,500 Boots Macmillan information pharmacists who are specially trained to advise you on living with cancer and provide support to you, carers, family and friends. From explaining medication side effects to lifestyle changes or products that can help manage signs and symptoms of menopause, Boots Macmillan information pharmacists will be able to help you. Find your nearest Boots Macmillan information pharmacist on our website or book a telephone appointment. Boots also have a dedicated information and resources hub about early menopause induced by cancer treatment on the Boots Health Hub. You can access this by visiting boots.com/health hub. I hope you found this video helpful, And remember, you're not alone in your journey with early menopause induced by cancer treatment. For more information, check out our Where to Start playlist linked below or visit the Boots Health Hub. Don't forget to subscribe to the Boots YouTube channel for more health and beauty advice.